Welcome, lovely one, to the Meant for More podcast. My name's Lisa Clifford, and I am building the world's most empowering Meant for More movement, leading millions of heart-led purpose seekers from feeling insignificant to invincible. So I truly hope you enjoy this next episode. And welcome Michelle Mook to the podcast. Michelle is the Managing Director of Pro Development. And in this conversation, you're going to learn about her Meant for More moment, where it led to, the people that have been significant in her life, the gentlest of nudges that have created the biggest of impacts, what her philosophy is about work and life and who we are when we show up to work, and all the blessings that she feels she now has in her life. She also shares her honesty about being vulnerable and what her fears are in life. And you're going to feel like you're watching two friends chatting. So I hope you enjoy this episode. Welcome, Michelle. It's been a while getting round to us getting this in the diary, considering how much we see each other.
No.
So let's begin with the question that I know everybody's tuned in to listen to, which is a time in your life or a moment where you had that feeling where you knew you were meant for more. And that, when I say this, it can have so many different meanings, because sometimes it can be that we know we've got more to offer and we're playing small, or more that life is revealing that you're in certain circumstances and experiences for a reason to catapult you into more. What was it? What was it for you?
Yeah, it's interesting because I think it was probably a bit of both of those things. I was reflecting on it. And when I was 21, I think growing up, I never really felt like I was meant for more. And when I got to 21, I was working for...
Sorry to interrupt.
That's all right.
Already.
That's fine.
Brace yourself, this is going to happen all the way through. What did you feel like growing up? Because it's a really good point.
My mum left when I was really small. And so I think I spent most of my life feeling like I wasn't good enough. Like there was a real kind of rejection thing, and so I wasn't good enough. And so I didn't ever feel that I had anything to offer at all. And it was only really when I got to about 21, and I was working with this incredible guy, and he sat me down one day, I was his PA, and he said to me, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Well, why are you working for me?" I said, "Because I really like working for you."
You were the one that offered the job.
Yeah. And then he said, "But you could be doing so much more." And there was a little penny, I think, dropped, and he was brilliant. He obviously spotted that potential in me and saw something in me that I had not seen myself. And he encouraged me to go and do a degree part-time. He got the college that I was working for at the time to pay for it. So did it not the fun way. 2 nights a week for 5 years wasn't the best way to get a degree. But I think that was a real moment for me when I think there was like a seed planted of maybe I am meant for more, but I don't think I really truly believed it at that stage. But I think it gave me a bit of a confidence boost. I think it was something that I needed. And I often say now to people, don't ever forget how important it can be having that moment of seeing some potential in somebody and sharing that with them, because fundamentally, I'm pretty sure he changed my life with that conversation.
Without a doubt. In a previous episode, I was talking with Helen Oldham, who is one of the founders of Lifted Ventures. And she says in her early career, somebody saw something and believed in it. And then she saw herself from that angle. And I had the same experience where somebody gave me an opportunity and I thought, I'm going to absolutely make this opportunity into alchemy. And I think we underestimate the power of our perspective in other people and the difference we can make to the whole trajectory of their life.
Fundamental, isn't it? Funnily enough, something similar happened, I think, when I was about 26. And my friend was working for a company and rang me up and she said, "Aren't you a trainer?" And I was doing a bit of kind of like one-to-one training with people. And I said, well, sort of. Why? She said, there's a job going at our place, and if you get it, you get 300 quid. And I had never really trained groups or people, but I went for this interview thinking, well, I don't know what I'm doing, no idea. And we laugh about it now. The woman who interviewed me, I mean, I think the training probably was shocking that I gave them. I had to go and do a little training session. I look back at it now and I think, holy moly, it really.
Don't wait.
But again, I know, but she definitely, again, saw potential in me because I was not the finished article whatsoever. But she, again, we laughed about it, like as we got to know each other years later, she just said, I knew you didn't know what you were doing, but I knew that there was somebody there that I could help. And again, Julie, who at the time, she definitely had another impact on me because that kind of was where my training career took off. So I think it's often little moments, isn't it? I think my fundamentally big moment was when I was in my 40s and had been working for a big corporate and was really, really unhappy. Just got to that, I think you kind of get to that point where you think this is where your career's meant to be. I was kind of really into like my career progression and I really wanted to do, and I just kind of found myself in that place thinking, what am I actually doing here? And I was super lucky. I was doing a coaching qualification at the time, so learning to be a coach, and as part of that I got a coach to work with, and again he fundamentally changed my life by asking me to really think about my values and what mattered to me. And the thing that kept coming up was making a difference, and I just had this huge epiphany of, oh, that's why I'm really not happy, because I don't feel like I'm making a difference here. And I think that's when I really started to realise that I was meant for more. I think there was something clocked and clicked with me in that coaching that made me think, actually, I want to do something different than this, and I want to make a difference to people and to businesses, and I want to do it locally. I'd done the whole global thing. I think I just kind of, I'm from Yorkshire, I've lived in the Humber. I just thought, I just want to work in Yorkshire and the Humber and make a difference to businesses, doing what I love doing, but do it locally. And I think that for me was a massive moment of a lot of things, both unraveling, so not good things happen, but also equally is why I'm sat here today, and is the best thing that ever could have happened to me.
Well, it didn't happen to you, did it?
Well,
and that's the thing. That's the thing that I think you took. What we know when we set up in business, so just share for a moment, and then hopefully I will remember my thread and where I'm at. We always say this in our conversations, have a flip chart out and write down where we're up to, but just share with people what it is you do now. And then I think my question is, the risk of setting up business. So
what I do now is we work with small, medium-sized businesses across Yorkshire and the Humber, and we help them with employee retention, engagement and development. So do lots of work. Our fundamental purpose is to make a difference to the businesses that we work with by helping them to retain talent. And we know that what retains them is when they're really engaged. So we do a lot of work about employee engagement, and making sure the culture's right. We do a lot of work around developing leaders and managers, because again, we know fundamentally they've got a massive impact on retention. So lots of leadership programs, of course, where we got to meet. I'm sure that will come up later. And then, lots of team building, training, coaching, anything really that helps to retain talent in the businesses that we work with. And we work with some amazing companies, some really lovely, really interesting as well. I think somebody once said to me early on in my pro development career, are you going to like specialise in particular sectors? And I remember looking at it thinking, well, why would you do that when you can work with loads of different companies? And, we work with a company who grow seaweed, who make fake skin, who do beauty products, lawyers, accountants, and everything else in between. So, and I love that because the challenges are all similar. There's just a different context. So that's what we do. And I've started off on my own when I did make the decision in the back of my garage in a converted office, looking at my laptop thinking, oh my Lord, what have I done? Because I genuinely hadn't. I always say to people who come and talk to me who are setting up businesses, I'm not sure that the way I went about doing it is the right way to do it.
But beginning is beginning,
It
so
is.
isn't it? Because we can look back with hindsight and give, I said this earlier, didn't I? Give our younger selves, our less experienced, more naive, more optimistic selves a hard time. But we've begun. We've begun, whether it was in the back of the garage or the back of your car or at your kitchen table, you began. And I think there's a sense that we have to have everything in place first and a contingency before making the first step. And that links into, I think, the question that I had in my head, which is about setting up your own business from being employed. Feels really risky, doesn't it?
I mean, it's really funny when I look back now, because I kind of almost did it against all the odds, because at the time I was married. I had a massive salary and bonuses and all that came with it from working for a big global company. And I think now my husband did not want me to do it. He absolutely, I was the main breadwinner. We had 2 kids. I never saw them. I knew I had to do it, but he really didn't want me to do it. And it did lead to the breakdown of our marriage. So it was kind of, which I think now I look back, it probably was inevitable that was going to happen. But it was a really tough decision to make, to do it, because I was doing it against the advice of, my partner at the time. But I just knew I needed to do it. And I remember saying to him, it'll be fine. I'll make it work. He said, but you won't make it work. And so again, having that, like doing it when my belief was being really questioned in myself, which for me probably wasn't a great thing, but I'm so proud. I look back now and I'm so proud that I really stuck to my guns and I did believe in myself despite, others telling me otherwise. So, yeah.
But I think I was speaking to, in another previous episode, Paula Grizzard, and we were talking about at the beginning when you set up in business or you speak the words you're going to set up, there are people around that have their own fears and their own projections. So when your husband said, but it won't work, you won't make it work, he can only have been coming from his own orientation of self-belief of, well, if it was me, would I make it work? No, well, I can't see how Michelle would. And well, of course he can't, because he doesn't have, he has his own map of the world, where you knew that you wouldn't let anybody down. You knew that you had a set of values that rule the decisions you make, the opportunities you go for, how you create your own opportunities. But I do think right at the beginning, because there'll be somebody watching this who's thinking, I want to work for myself, but will have more thoughts of limitation and restriction than they do about their vision. And I just want to ask, how important is it that you choose who you share your, I always think it's like having your baby. You share those words with, those words that kind of are going to land in somebody's hands. And they're either going to nurture it and be gentle with it and look at it with you like, oh, that's fascinating. Yes, I can see how amazing you're going to be. Or they're going to go, what? Screw it up and throw it away. I mean, that's how I kind of visualize it.
Yeah, and you're right, because I think, of course, I was going to share it with my husband. He was a big, in hindsight, was he the best person to share it with? Absolutely not. But it was a necessary evil, I guess, at the time. But actually, when I think about, it's funny, actually, I was just chatting to somebody earlier and they were saying, how did you come up with Pro Development? And I said, I literally can still remember sitting around my kitchen table with my mum, my best friends, Katie, who's a graphic designer, Steph, who works for me now, and Liz, who used to work for us, has just moved to Spain, and Sue, who came to work for me. And we sat around my kitchen table and we had this massive brainstorming session about all that it could be. And they were my supporters. They were the ones that were like, you can do this. This is going to be amazing. And so they definitely were my huge kind of lit my fire. And I think that's what I needed. So I think being mindful and having supporters behind you is really important, because it's not easy.
Well, you already have your own bank of doubt. We're all hardwired to look at where the risk is and where am I going to fail and where am I not going to survive. And when am I going to die? Because we're looking to stay alive.
And constantly having, for me, that I'm not good enough commentary has been there my whole life. That's never gone away. I've learned to manage it. So that kind of, in my up to being 21, where I spent my whole life thinking I wasn't good enough, I don't think that's ever completely gone away. So of course that creeps in constantly. And I was having a lot of that in those early days.
Yeah. And so there'll be people listening and watching that are thinking, well, if there's the potential of my home life being disturbed, I'm not going to do it. There'll be people watching like, yeah, this home life needs disturbing. I'm important, I need to do it. But what's the best message you can give to people who think, I don't want to change, I don't want to disturb the equilibrium? And Michelle lost her husband, whereas we don't actually see it as a loss, do we?
No, not at all.
Because if it didn't support you when you most needed it with this brilliant idea, then it kind of brought some light.
It kind of highlighted that we were on different paths.
Yeah.
And I often think, looking at lots of relationships and relationships I've had, sometimes that's when they come to an end, when your paths have gone just in completely different directions. He wasn't wrong, I wasn't wrong. Our paths just weren't aligned anymore.
Yeah.
So, and I think I also had a really incredible experience. Somebody I knew was going to go and have this day with horses. I've always loved horses, and this was really early on when I was still having a bit of self-doubt. And she'd said to me, I'm going to have this day with horses. Do you fancy coming? I was like, yeah, I'll come. That sounds great. Had no idea what I was going to do. And went down south with this woman to have this day with horses. And it was life-changing. One day with this horse called Opus. And we had to do this activity. And it was, again, horses are such a great mirror for whatever's going on inside. I was stood in the centre of this arena, and this horse was at liberty, so no lead reins or anything. And you just had to get this horse to go around the arena. And as he was walking around, but he just kept looking at me. And I could not get him to move any more than a walk. And when we came in afterwards, I said to the coach said to me, what was going on there, Michelle? And I burst into tears and said, I just felt like he was saying, if you don't value and respect yourself, how do you expect me to do that? And it was such a whew.
When you heard your own thoughts.
Yeah.
Because normally we don't hear our thoughts.
No. And it was such a wake-up call. Actually, if I don't do this, I'm not going to be valuing and respecting myself. And I think probably for the first time in my life, I actually put myself first. I thought, I'm going to do this for me, for my family. I need to do this. And that's when I went back and said to my husband, I'm definitely doing this. And that was quite a moment. But the horses were just incredible to have that experience with, and obviously I get to do that now as well.
Just to share a bit more about how you get to do that now.
So what we ended up doing after I set up the business, one of the things I'd always wanted to do was run a leadership program that was really different. I'd had some great experiences of leadership over my career and doing leadership training, but what I realized is the things that had really significantly shifted me the most were experiences, not just sitting and reading a book or in a classroom. So I vowed I was going to set up a leadership program that was really different. And not long after I came back from that horses day, I'm a massive believer in things happen for reasons.
Oh, yeah.
I bumped into this woman at a networking event and said to her, she was new to the group. So, hi, I'm Michelle, what do you do? And she said, I do equine facilitation. And I was like, whoa, I've literally just come back from doing this. She lived locally in Easingwell, Julia. And so, for the last 10 years, I've been working with her with the horses, decided I absolutely had to have a horses day as part of that programme. And that's what we've been doing. And then I met the amazing Lisa Clifford. Networking again, and thought, I've really got to have the fire walking and all the stuff that you do as part of that programme that's going to really shift people. So, we built this programme and we've been running that for 10 years and I absolutely love it. It's one of the programmes where people often talk about it being life-changing. For them, it's a 7-month programme made up of all these different workshops. And 2 years ago, I realised how much I loved doing the horse work. So I went over to California with Julia's blessing and qualified so that me and Julie could work together more with the horses. So yeah, that was an incredible experience, flying over to California. I'd never done anything like that before. I'd never travelled abroad on my own. So it was like another really big experience. But yeah, that was amazing. Got to work with her.
Another example of following your heart. And just going back, that program is a really special program, and I want to remind me in your internal flip chart, following your heart, and hopefully I'll know what I'm asking with that. But but even at the beginning of setting up this amazing 7-month program, which was experiential, supported by coaching, there were still people that said, because a lot of it's outside, if not
most of it,
95% of it's outside, which is brilliant because it's where we need to be. We need to be back, being grounded and outside, and so it's such a brilliant program and so courageous of you. But there were people around that said, "What if it rains?"
Yeah,
like,
yeah, absolutely. What if the weather's bad?
Yeah.
Well, isn't that just leadership?
Isn't that life?
Yeah. Sometimes when you're leading, things happen, and it's about how you dig deep and where you go, and that self-leadership in times of adversity. And we've had it where it's been belting down with rain, and it really does show people's true leadership comes out when you're in that kind of adversity, and there's so much learning to be had from that.
Well, there is. I think that we do, if we learn the most when we are in our reaction, I think, and quite often we're in a very considered, a very thoughtful, a very filtered, a very masked persona. And then this is the way I want people to see me. This is how I want to be seen as a leader. But really, true leadership is displayed when we need it the most, is when we're up against it.
Yeah.
And when we're up against it is when people's reactionary leadership comes out, that they need a mirror putting up to.
That's when you see the true self, I think, isn't it? I think that's what I love about the horses. There's a model we use with the horses about horse and personality, and it's about horses are not interested in that mask or all the fears that we've created that lead to the mask. They're only interested in that real core essence of who you are.
Yeah.
And when you show up as who you are, that's when the horses really connect with you.
Yeah.
And that's when you get the learnings. When you're not showing up, if you've got that mask, all those fears are there. That's when the horses, it makes them really kind of anxious. So I think that's when you get the great feedback. And it's the same when we do, one of the things that we do is a leading day where they take it in turns to lead, and they start off by sharing what's it like to be led by me, and they share, this is what you're going to see, and it invariably never is. What people think and how they think they're going to show up and what they want to work on. And it's something completely different that comes up, which is, again, so valuable to get that feedback from people who have only got your heart. All they want to do is get the best for you.
I think that I know I am really cautious and resistant to people that I feel are filtered, too polished, veneer, that don't share a piece of themselves. And I know I love and will do anything for the person that shows me who they really are. But I can understand, and I do understand the psychology of why people choose a persona and then act as if they are it, because they want to be professional, and they have that saying, isn't there? Oh no, I leave my home, I leave my home life at home, and this is my work me. And somewhere along the line, over the decades that we've been employed, and now I'm not an employer, I'm unemployable.
Aren't we all?
Too headstrong about what I think is right, but what was I going to say?
No, I you're right, because I think there is something, isn't it, about when you...
Oh yeah, it's that leave your personal life, abandon yourself at home, and then just come up as this.
And we talk about this all the time with. So I've built a business. One of the things that I always had, and I literally still now have no idea where it came from. When I set up the business, I had in my head, I'm going to have 10 people.
Yeah,
I'm going to have 10 people. And we've grown beyond that, but we're back to 10 again. We'll probably grow beyond it again. But for me, it was never about having a huge business. It was about having a really great business. But for me, I really wanted to create a workplace where people could bring themselves to work and all that they are. I just don't think it's healthy. And I think for a lot of years, when I was in corporate life, I did show up as this mask of what I thought I was meant to be as a leader. And actually, when I set up on my own, it was really weird. Something switched with me, and I think again that I think I've been more I am in the last 14 years of having this business than my whole life. I swore when I left the global company, never wearing a suit again. I'm always going to wear flowery dresses, bright colours, exactly who I am as a person. And I've always stayed true to that. And I think when you really find that I am and that real essence of who you're meant to be, and you really start to believe in that, that's when real magic happens. And I think that's what's happened for me in the business is I found that, and I found other people who have come to work for me who have found that as well. And we're all unique and different, and we don't have two heads. You know, you can't, if you've got stuff going on in your life, you can't just leave it at the door. Otherwise, you're just showing up as a pretend version.
A shell, and it's not that, and that's not what creates change or influences people. It's never about the actual words you use or the process that you use. It's the spirit and the heart that flows through those words and those processes.
And that's when you can help each other. You know, there are times when, I mean, I am generally a really positive person, very optimistic, come into work, love what I do. There are odd times when I've had bad days, and we talk about it as a team. I'll just say, you know, like, I'm having a really bad day today, and everybody, we all do this for each other. Or what is it that's going to help change that? We might get up and have a sing and a dance, you know, it's whatever it is. But I think when you can own it and share it and be who you're meant to be, you can help each other.
I think that in companies and bigger companies particular, I think people default into that corporate self, and I leave my personal life behind. And I get that. I hope at the least what they're doing is not regurgitating and living in a discomfort at home. They're not bringing that to work. They get some freedom from it. But I think what happens is when you start with a company, you calibrate against the senior people, and you calibrate against how do I want them to see me. And then you become that version that you're frightened to not be after you've been it for a little while. You become something that you're not. And then you have to consistently be that thing that you're not, because it's who they identify with.
It's exhausting.
Exactly. And you know, I used to do a different kind of disc profiling. I used to do the Thomas International profile, and now I do and I know you do as well, the Wiley one. And the Wiley one is a circle. And the Thomas International one are 3 graphs. And I used to use it as part of a recruitment process when I coached in-house. And one of them is who you are as yourself, who you are under pressure, and who you are at work. And ideally, and they fill it in with the work hat on. But ideally, what you'd like to see is them being themselves. Not a lot of difference over the 3 graphs.
Who they are.
Yeah.
Just full stop.
Well, but what you see is who they are at home, who they are under pressure, and who they are at work. So it's 3 complete. I don't know if you know them. 3 complete.
Yeah.
Just in case you don't know, it's 3 completely different graphs. And the way that the soul and the spirit and our mind works at its best if we're just being ourselves. And when we become under enormous amount of stress and pressure is when who we are at work is different to who we are at home. And you get to see that in these graphs, the difference and where the difference is, and then who they are under pressure. And I imagine that those people that come into work for companies where they're modelling against, well, what's the current trend? I don't want to stand out, so we end up being someone we're not. That the graphs are very different, I imagine, and I think that's what causes the most stress for people.
Yeah, because I think when you're trying to be, I was completely burnt out and exhausted when I left that global company, trying to be something I wasn't, trying to fit into an organisation where our values were aligned. It wasn't the right place for me to be. That wasn't their fault. I went to go and work for a company. It wasn't the right company, and I had to make the choice to leave. You know, that was the right thing for me. But I think when you can be yourself, and we talk a lot about this at the team, you know, none of us are perfect. We've all got issues, we've all got challenges, we've all got areas that we can develop and grow. But we also talk a lot in our team about it's okay as well to have a bad day. It's okay to, like I always talk about my spaghetti head. You know, when I'm under pressure, I get what I call spaghetti head. The team know that. We've talked about it. They accept that about me. Of course, I work on that. Of course, I look at how to be different so that it doesn't impact on the others. But actually, that's just who I am. And so there's an element of, I think, really, especially more so now than ever, just embracing who we are, you know, not nitpicking, not kind of constantly, oh, well, you know, you need to stop doing that. Actually, just embrace who people are and help people to be the best version of themselves. And I know that's what you do with your coaching. It's what we do with our team, you know, team events and everything that we do is just be your best you.
I think when we say best version and best you, it's about be you,
Absolutely.
isn't it? Really, be you.
Everybody else is taken.
What's the truth of who you are? Not what are the stories you tell yourself. Not what are the avoidance techniques so that you won't be disappointed or in case you fail. But who are you and what's in your heart? So what was when you had your moment of I know I'm meant for more and your husband had a different perspective that you've proven him wrong. What was the biggest surprise to you when you set up your own business?
I think the fact that it worked.
Yeah, but when did you know it was working? When was the clue that it had worked?
Gosh, that's a really great question. The first year was tough, really tough. I remember saying to myself, I'm going to give myself a year. If I can make it work in a year, I'm going to be fine. And it's funny, I've like reflected and seen so many other people now go, yeah, that's not long enough to give yourself time to set up a business and get it going. But actually, I think I had the rocket up me because I had to make it work because I was suddenly found myself a single parent of two boys with a mortgage and everything else that I had to pay, and obviously no customers when I first set up, no clients. So I worked my socks off in that first year and my second year. I think if I'm really honest, I probably only had, and this is going to sound terrible, 10 years in. We were 10 years in, and we had a big party here. You were here.
I remember it.
Lots of other amazing clients, people that we've met over the years. We had this party. I was pulling together like a little speech to do, and I had a real moment of, I've done it. I've actually done it. I had 10 employees, had all these gorgeous customers and clients that were there, all these incredible partners that I'd found to work with, like yourself and Julia and all those other people we work with. And that probably was the first time when I really fully had that, yeah, I did it. So I don't quite know what happened in the 10 years before that, because clearly there were moments that...
But I wonder if, who was your first customer? And what was going through your mind when you're meeting with somebody, you've previously been employed, there's always been a framework for how to do things, and then here you are, making it up.
Oh, yeah.
That feeling of making it up. You're in front of
It makes me feel sick now when I think about it.
You're in front of a real human being talking about what you do and what you can do for them, and then pricing it. Tell me what that was like.
That's the best way to describe it. Oh my gosh. It's funny, isn't it? There's so many things when I look back now. That first client, I spent the whole time just thinking they're gonna find out that I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
How am I gonna be able to do this? They've told me all these outcomes I want to achieve. Can I do it? I was also going through the separation at the time, so I had that layer as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's incredible, really, isn't it? The challenges that you have to overcome and the pricing of things, that was really challenging. I mean, I remember having conversations with you about a tray.
Oh, yes. There's a metaphor.
Yeah.
There's a story about, depending on where you buy this black lacquered tray, what would you pay for it if you bought it from the car boot sale? What would you pay for it if you bought it from run-of-the-mill department store? And what would you pay if you bought it from
Harrods, I think
Harrods?
you said, yeah.
And depending on the context that you put around the very same tray,
The value you place on that. And that was a massive, I think I suddenly had this, I'm really not valuing myself enough. And so I think that's really important, that really valuing. But I think also I'd never really clocked, and again, makes my toes curl when I think about it, that I was actually going to have to go out and sell. It hadn't even entered my mind. I remember sitting and thinking, oh my God, I'm going to have to go out and sell. I'd never sold anything in my life. And then I was selling myself. And then that felt really kind of uncomfortable that I was going out and selling myself. But then I kind of very quickly switched to I was selling pro development. That shift really helped. I think trying to remove it from I'm selling me, now I'm selling a service pro development. And then obviously when I started to take on other people, that really helped. And now, I mean, I absolutely love selling because I don't go out and sell. I just really help understand what the challenges are that people are having. And then we look to see, have we got something that can help them? And I love it now. I really love it. I never thought that I would ever say that about going out and selling. But yeah, absolutely love it. Because to me, we're just making a difference. We're helping to make a difference.
I think when you swap the word sell to helping, because we would never suggest that somebody would have something that they didn't need nor wanted, or say that we could do something that we couldn't do, because that's just creating a massive what's the word, that dropping a grenade, that's it, dropping a grenade into your future, isn't it? You know, being dishonest on any level. And it's really lovely to be able to listen to what people's needs are and think about either what you know or what your team knows, what products and services you've got, or who you know that can help.
And that's the lovely thing, isn't it? I love it. I think for me, I love it just as much when I say to them, well, we can't help with that, but I know somebody who can.
Yeah.
And I think the going out, I mean, one of the things that I often talk about is what I think absolutely led to the success of the business was networking.
Exactly.
Was just going out. And I remember some of the networking I went to in the early days, makes me cringe thinking about some of the ones, but find the really great groups, find your tribes, you know, and that's exactly what I did. Yeah.
Go consistently and make friends.
Yeah.
Rather than go and see what you can get out of people. Because it's as much as who do I know that can help this person?
Yeah.
Rather than how can I get someone to buy what I've got?
Yeah. Because you rarely, and in our case, rarely do we ever meet the people that we work with at networking, but we meet really great people who we can help, who we can partner with, who actually might be working with our clients, who then will introduce us to them. And for me, that's the thing, it's build the relationships. And of course, people say, well, I've been going for 6 months and nothing's happened.
Yeah.
Well, if you're only going once a month, like that's, you know, that's no time at all.
It isn't.
I always say to my team when we go out networking, the only thing you ever need to come away from a networking event is with a one-to-one. Arranged a one-to-one with somebody to get to know them, find out more about how we can help them, and then the rest will happen. And
I had a wonderful experience this week. It was the end of last week, actually. A lady last Friday emailed me wanting me to run a fire walk for her charity. And so I rang her immediately, and which is another thing people don't do these days. They emailed to say, when can we speak? Well, just pick up the phone. And anyway, so we spoke, and she'd already had a firewalking company, but they weren't coming back to her, and she was feeling a degree of uncertainty. And she was networking, and she met Heidi Green.
Oh, lovely Heidi.
And Heidi had said to her, oh, are you doing it with Lisa Clifford? And she went, no, I don't know Lisa Clifford. She said, oh, you must know Lisa Clifford. So then she got in touch with me, and Heidi had done a firewalk with me, and I met Heidi through networking.
Yeah.
And so the cycle of networking is actually just a community and I would say massively take the pressure off selling and just go and
be you.
Yeah.
And just go and meet people and get to know them.
And that's how, I mean, I'm trying to ask you questions that I don't know the answer to, which is difficult because we speak 2 or 3 times a week and we meet up at least once every couple of weeks. So we know over these last 10 years, we know each other really well.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping to ask you questions that are helpful for you and in case you're listening on podcast, you, the listener, that if you're at home and thinking about setting up your own business, is there, no, you don't know any of the questions I'm asking you.
No,
and even I don't.
I'm sat here thinking, oh no, what's coming next?
And even I don't know. And even when I do know, I forget it. Because I've recently entered a period in my life where
the word thief.
Someone else has got my brain. But can you remember where you've made a catastrophic mistake that was one of your biggest ones? And
how long have we got?
Hopefully it was like so long ago that everybody's recovered.
I've made so many. I always say I've made more mistakes in the last 14 years than my whole career. I think you have to embrace that when you set up your own business. Have you got one
you can share?
Oh, I mean, now you're asking. I'm very good at forgetting things that have been
I know. That's why women have more than one baby, isn't it? They forget the pain.
We was joking our family. My sisters always say, don't you remember when this happened? I'm like, no. It's like gone. I've put it behind me. Probably mistakes in pricing, definitely. I mean, way underpricing in the early days. I mean, I look back now and I just think, good grief, really terrible decisions about pricing. And then, of course, the tough thing is you get stuck then with clients who have paid that. And I think that's been that was quite painful in the early stages as we started to get the kind of pricing right, I would say. Now it feels like we've got to that place where we've found our companies, we've found
the
that.
The pricing is tested.
It's
people are getting value and results.
You still get, we'll still get some people who go, oh, that's quite expensive. And it's like, well, we know our value and we know the difference we can make and we'll get you a return on that investment. So it depends on how you look at things.
Well, there's also that thing of holding your integrity as well, because whilst you are the decision maker and you can be flexible with pricing, it's unfair on the other people, the other companies that have paid that price.
Oh, we don't do discounts because I think, well, immediately what you're saying if you're giving a discount is that actually you weren't charging the right thing to start with.
I completely agree.
And again, it's that all of our clients know we are completely consistent. We don't, charge, we'll add a bit on here or we'll knock a bit off there. It's the price is the price, and we've worked really hard to get that pricing right, and we'll stay firm with that. And if they haven't got the budget, then we look at, well, what can we do instead? Is there something else that we can do? But ultimately, sometimes we're just not the right people for them, and that's fine as well.
Yeah.
It's about, I think it's really important. I think we've done a lot of work on our values, and trusted is one of our values, making a difference, obviously. Creativity and trusted. But for me, the trusted is about, people can trust us because they know that we're really transparent about those things. We've worked hard to get that right, and, we don't faff about with it. But there's somebody else, if it's not you, if you can't help them, there's somebody else that can help them. So, yeah.
Well, so tell us a bit about where you felt like you've meant for more in your personal life.
That is really interesting. I think probably a similar time to the marriage breakdown, because I think that's when I realised I was meant for more. I had more to offer in a relationship when that person is ready to receive it. So I think that's been a bit of a journey. It's been a real journey. The last sort of 14 years, so I've been divorced about 14 years, had a 7-year relationship in there as well.
That's how long we've been working together for then.
Yeah, I know it will be. Because I met you fairly early on when I was going through my separation.
No, I remember when you weren't separated, because you'd been for a date at McDonald's. that should have told you.
Well, maybe that was when I realised.
I knew then.
Oh, dear.
Do you know what I'm thinking about? Because Michelle and I are both currently single, and this is not a proposition. Although...
For the right man.
There's something that there is a some data out there that says the happiest group
I know.
of humans on the planet are single women. And then, and then the second happiest is married men. Not because married men are seeing single women, but because
Hope not.
I don't think so. But because they are they've got a woman that is and they're in a happy relationship. And so there's something about us that run our own business, that have life on our terms, don't we? And that, I'm a firm believer of. Now, my favourite.
Well, what are you going to say?
Michelle's worried for me right now, especially because I've started talking to you more than her. But one of my favourite things to do is to put the wood burner on, to be in my trackies or even my pajamas, and to be with my 2 golden retrievers. And if I've got a friend over, in that scenario, even better. But that is my idea of heaven. And even as a child, I always wanted a dog, always wanted a dog. I always wanted a cozy house. We didn't have a cozy house. It was always big light on and some drama going on. So to have the lamps on even as being part of a massive dream for me from being a child. Having a dog has been a massive dream for me. Doing what I do for a living now, I could never have comprehended, but I knew that for me, that little, when I was little, I remember feeling I've got this life for a reason. I'm meant to do something amazing with it. But back then, I'm 56, so back then it was be a secretary, a nurse, rule out doctor. I wasn't going to university, but
With me.
and so I'm living a dream that I had as a child that to other people be like nothing, but to me, I value it every second. So unless you can match, 2 golden retrievers and comfy jogging bottoms, you're up against stiff competition. So unless you can match that or add to it in a really great way.
Yeah.
And I think so.
It's a lovely place to be, though, isn't it? I think, I've thought a lot, particularly over the last sort of 3 years, that I'm just really happy. I'm really happy in my life. I think I don't need a partner. Of course, I'd love to meet somebody to spend that next chapter with, but I don't need somebody. And I think it's a really special place to be because, then if and when I get into a relationship, it'll be for all the right reasons.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we're both adventurous.
Yeah.
Again, I mean, as in walking boots, or because you went canoeing at the Zambezi River, didn't you?
Yeah, that was last year. It's scary, isn't it? It was last year.
Yes,
I did
it
that.
was.
Yeah. So canoed, did wild camping and canoed down the Zambezi River for charity. That was absolutely incredible. Yeah, I'm a definite adventurer and I really it'd be lovely to meet somebody to go on adventures with, but I will always be going on adventures. I think everybody's always saying to me, what's your next adventure? I went to Australia in April for a month, which was incredible to be able to leave the business. I mean, who, would have thought 14 years later I would have a business that I could leave with this amazing team, didn't even check any emails and nothing. They just ran the business while I was away for a month, and that was to go and see my youngest son who went out to Australia last year. Still miss him, but he's still out there. But yeah, it's like, what's going to be my next adventure? I don't know yet. We shall see.
Because speaking about, meant for more in our personal lives, what do you think the difference is? Because I for women in particular, from 30 years ago, for example, what do you think the difference is for us that we get to do that women 30 years ago were doing?
It's just the world has just changed so much, hasn't it? When you think about all the rights that women have now and that equality. I think so many of us are so much more independent now. We've got our own houses, we've got our own businesses. We've got more confidence, I think, in that belief that we've seen really great role models do that. I think these podcasts, things like this, it's inspiring future generations. And I think, I look at my son when he was 19, he was working for a company, got made redundant because the company went bust. He moped around for about a week and then he just said to me, Mum, I'm going to set up my own business. You've done it. It can't be that difficult. I think, well, I'm glad I make it look easy.
Yeah.
But
Isn't
actually,
there
it's
something about
inspired him, you
isn't there
know.
something about naivety as well, though? Him
Yeah.
not knowing what the potential pitfalls were for them
Yeah.
to get in the way of him going ahead and doing it. Because
Yeah.
we find a way when they're there, don't we?
Definitely. But I think there's so much more inspiring role models
Yeah.
out there now for women, and so many amazing women running businesses, you know, living independent lives and being really happy, as we know, the happiest
Yeah.
of the population. Yeah, so I just think there's a lot more access to that now. And I think you have to be really brave to do that. I think there's a lot more bravery now.
Mm.
You know, I think when I look back, I think, blimey, I had to really dig deep to find that bravery to make all those steps and overcome all those challenges. But then that makes you who you are. You know, I think I wouldn't be the person I am now if I hadn't done those things. So,
And the thing is, I think, because we can look quite, I guess, in our masculine when we run our own business. And the thing is, but we do, I know you and I, like we do drop into our feminine because the feminine and the masculine work really well co-creating within us. And I think that aspect of us could be not putting suitors off. This is not about us campaigning.
Are you saying this is why I'm single? Because I've got a business.
But there is that kind of, we do have to make things happen, don't we? We don't have a choice. And the other thing is, well, who's going to do it if we don't? You know, we are in the driving seat, but
we still have to do the decorating and cutting the grass and, you know, putting the bins out. All the boys' jobs, as they always say in the office,
the blue
jobs.
But there is that side of, also there's another side to us, our personal sides of being in that soft feminine, that liking the door being held open and
oh, that just made me laugh. I went on a date, this is years ago, where the guy came to pick me up and we walked over to his car and he went to go and open up the passenger door, and my first thought was, is he expecting me to drive his car? Nobody had ever opened a door. And I was like, oh, he's opening the door for me to get in. But I actually started to walk. I'm thinking, I can't believe he's asking me to drive his car. It's our first date.
Oh, that's funny. You reminded me of a time when I worked in Edinburgh, and I forget the name of the managing director who I was responsible for the accommodation revenue in this hotel. And so I negotiated all the contracts, and so this owner of this travel company came to take me out for lunch in his Aston Martin. And he opened the passenger door, but he shut it before I was properly in.
Oh no. Oh no.
My hair was caught in the door, but I couldn't sit down, otherwise I'd have scalped myself. Oh yeah.
Oh God.
Sitting in the seat like squeak, jumps out, open the car door.
Oh, funny.
Oh, thanks for that laughs. I mean, so yeah. So
I've put you completely off the straw.
Oh, that is so funny.
Sorry.
So we're going to start wrapping up in a moment. But
must we?
We both need to watch this back together before it goes live. But just going back to our personal lives and knowing that we're meant for more and getting that balance right between this incredible business that you've got and this incredible personal life that you've got. What do you feel most blessed about? Other than the boys?
Yeah, I was just about, my first thought was my two boys, who were both absolutely amazing. I'm so proud that they've turned into these gorgeous, you know, men that just think I've been a part of that, you know, that. I think I feel really blessed, particularly over the last 14 years, is the people that I've met in my life that I think I wouldn't know you potentially if I hadn't set up the business. The team that I've got, who are absolutely incredible, all the amazing people that I meet. I think, and that extends to not just with work as well. Like I've joined a pop choir. I joined a pop choir about 2.5 years ago. that's just been an absolutely amazing thing. I get to go and do gigs and sing, which I love doing in a pop choir, not on my own.
I've heard you singing.
Yeah.
It's very good.
It's fine. Yeah, it's not bad. But definitely better in a choir.
But that's the other thing, though. Your 7-year relationship that you had brought so many brilliant things into your work.
Completely.
Because he bought singing lessons because he knew that you were a budding singer.
Absolutely.
Going to gigs, rugby.
Yeah, completely. So I think it's interesting, isn't it, when you look back on relationships? I don't ever look back on them and think, oh no, that's terrible. I think it's great. Me and my husband, we had great times. We had 2 amazing boys together. I'm so grateful for that. David, that I was with for 7 years, he brought so many things to my life. We did loads of great adventures together, traveling, we had festivals and gigs, and again, more amazing people that have been brought into my life through him. So yeah, you can only ever look back, can't you, and think, what are the great things that I got from that and the opportunities that I brought. My son often says, my youngest one, if it hadn't been for that relationship, he found landscape gardening through that. So he's always really grateful for that as well. So I think, always look back and think about the great things that those people have brought to your life. Don't regret things. I never regret those relationships. And then learn from them and take those things forward into whatever the future brings. And I'm just blessed with having lovely people in my life and doing great things. I do a lot of open water swimming now. That came about because of me joining the pop choir. So I've done the Great North Swim now 3 times, and lots of other charity things. So all of those great things that have happened in the last few years have come about because of the people that I've met. So that's where I feel really blessed to have such amazing people in my life. Yeah.
Last picking of your brains, what one bit of wisdom or tip or advice or whatever's in your heart to say would you like to offer to anybody listening that will support them wherever they are in life right now? And in particular, if they're having that inkling of, I think
go for it. Follow your dreams. I think I am so grateful for where I am right now. But that happened because I followed my dreams, I followed my heart, and I didn't let anything get in the way. And I think, don't be afraid to fail. There was, for me, it could have all gone horribly wrong, but it'd have been all right. Have a plan for if it goes wrong, but kind of don't live in fear. I think that's been a really big thing for me that I have thought a lot about over the last 14 years is we get so trapped into living in our fear, and actually fear keeps us safe. There's times when it's good to listen to it and think, right, okay, well, what am I going to do if that happens? But then come out of that and then just live in hope and faith that actually the best things are going to happen. I think that would be my biggest tip.
I love that. And I think that the fear is only the past projected into the future. And so we don't have to keep repeating things that have happened in the past because we've learned from them. Michelle, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. It's been a blast.
It has, hasn't it? And I think we've managed not to damage each other's credibility with all the secrets we know.
I think we might. It could have been far worse.
Wrong. Do you want an episode 2?
Yeah.
Thank you, darling.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you would like to be involved in the Meant for More movement, then please drop me a line at lisa@lisaclifford.co.uk. Whether that's you're interested in being on the podcast, taking part in any of the trainings, or would just love to know how you can help empower others, then let's have a conversation. Thank you for listening, and we'll connect again very soon.